Harry Potter is often called a children's series, something you grow out of once you hit adulthood. But the strange thing is, the older you get, the more you realise the exact opposite is true, because there are whole layers of this story emotional, moral, even philosophical that you can't fully appreciate until you've lived a bit, until you've felt grief, or love, or responsibility, until your world has expanded far beyond what it was when you were 11. Today we're exploring why Harry Potter isn't just for children and why it actually hits even harder as an adult. When you're young, death in Harry Potter feels tragic but simple. Someone is gone and it's sad. As an adult, you understand that death doesn't just take a person, it changes everyone who loved them. The perfect example is Snape stepping into the nursery and finding Lily dead on the floor. As a child, that scene is heartbreaking, but as an adult, it's devastating in a completely different way. Because by the time you've reached adulthood, there's a much higher chance you've lost someone, or you've at least seen a real grief up close. You understand what Snape is experiencing, that hollow, collapsing feeling, that moment where your entire future disappears in a single second. Children don't recognise that feeling yet, adults do. And it's the same with Fred Weasley's death. Kids feel the shock that Fred is gone. Adults immediately think of the family. They think of Molly. We remember her breakdown at Grimmauld Place, the boggart showing her every one of her children dead on the floor. As a child, that scene is frightening. As an adult, it's unbearable because you suddenly understand a parent's terror, the fear of outliving your child, the emotional weight behind that moment. Harry Potter doesn't just show death, it shows the aftershocks, the way it fractures the living. And to quote Dumbledore, do not pity the dead, Harry, pity the living, and above all, those who live without love. As a child, this sounds wise. As an adult, it's something you feel in your bones. And that hits in a completely different way once you're old enough to relate. When you're young, love in stories tends to be simple. X likes Y, true love conquers everything. But Harry Potter quietly introduces you to the complicated, messy reality of adult relationships. James and Lily, whose relationship didn't start perfectly at all. Tonks and Lupin, struggling with insecurity and fear of the future. Hagrid, loving creatures so deeply it blinds him. And Sirius, who loves Harry so much he starts seeing him as his best friend James. And then there's Snape, whose love isn't fairy tale pure at all. It's painful, obsessive, wrapped in guilt and an unresolved trauma. What children see is Snape loved Lily. What adults see is a man consumed by the consequences of his choices, trying desperately to be worthy of the memory of the person he lost. It's uncomfortable, it's complex, and it's very, very real. Harry Potter presents love the way adulthood teaches it imperfect, flawed, powerful, and sometimes tragic. As a child, the wizarding world is simple. Harry's good, Snape's bad. Dumbledore's wise, Voldemort's evil, and Draco's a bully. But adulthood blurs every line. When you reread the series later in life, suddenly Dumbledore looks far more manipulative and morally questionable. Snape's cruelty becomes harder to excuse, even with his tragic past. Draco looks like a product of fear and generational trauma, not just a schoolyard villain. Fudge isn't annoying, he's a painfully accurate example of a politician refusing truth to protect his own image. Your own perspective shifts because you now understand how complicated people are. Heroes have flaws, villains have vulnerabilities, and authority figures aren't always right or good. Harry Potter doesn't just teach a child version of morality, it teaches a very adult one that good and evil aren't always easy to separate. When you're a kid, you can relate to some of Harry's life. You feel lost, confused, overwhelmed by everything happening around you. But when you're older, you suddenly start feeling for all the adults. McGonagall, at times carrying the entire school on her shoulders, Molly keeping her family together, while in the later books fearing every day they might not come home, Arthur, balancing work, money, and the threat of war, Lupin, believing himself too damaged to deserve happiness, Hagrid, taking hit after emotional hit, but choosing kindness every time. You realise how much silent weight these characters carry, weight you didn't notice as a child because you hadn't lived it yet. And that's the real magic of Harry Potter. It's not one story, it's many. and each age reveals a different version of it. As a child, it's about magic and adventure. As a teenager, it's about identity and rebellion. As an adult, it becomes a story about grief, trauma, love, responsibility, sacrifice, and the quiet human strength it takes just to keep going. Harry Potter doesn't fade as you get older, it deepens, and every time you return, you uncover something new about the story. Harry Potter might look like a children's series on the surface, but underneath, it's emotionally rich and psychologically complex. It's a world that grows with you, deepens with you, and means more the more life you've lived. If this deep dive resonated with you, let me know in the comments. Do you agree that Harry Potter hits differently as an adult? And what moment spoke to you the most? Thanks for watching.